Welcome, everyone. And I invite you to turn your monitor to gallery view so that we can all see each other. And let's do a little blessing for anyone who is joining for the first time. If you'll raise your hands and you can repeat after me, even though you're muted, there's something about the vibration when you speak these words. So, welcome to Inspire.
Welcome to Inspire.
We know who you are.
We know who you are.
You are the image and likeness of God.
You are the image and likeness of God.
You are created of the substance of God.
You are created of the substance of God.
We're thankful for you.
We're thankful for you.
We love you.
We love you.
We bless you and you bless us.
We bless you and you bless us.
Thank you for joining and welcome to Inspire.
Welcome to Inspire.
Yes, yes, yes. Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes. Again, we meet on the second and fourth Sunday of every month. And today we're going to begin with a meditation. It'll be a kind of quiet meditation, but the most important thing is we're going to open our hearts as we take a moment to close our eyes. So let's go ahead and allow our eyes to close and our hearts to open. And let's begin together by following the breath, consciously and deliberately choosing to inhale deeply, feeling the love of God as if you can breathe love straight into your heart. Feel that as you inhale. And then as you exhale, you just exhale just a release of gratitude, grateful to yourself for keeping your divine appointment. So we're just inhaling love, exhaling gratitude, and enjoying a few precious moments in the stillness. If thoughts come, we don't need to be connected to them. We can gently watch them float away, because right now we're just inhaling love and exhaling gratitude as we just enjoy a few precious moments in the stillness. Just love and gratitude. Inhaling love and exhaling gratitude. Inhaling love as if you can breathe love directly into your heart. And exhaling gratitude, grateful that you kept your divine appointment. And ever so gently, I invite you to begin allowing your attention to return to this time and this place, becoming aware of your body, perhaps wiggling your fingers and toes, and allowing your heart to open even wider as I speak a word of blessing for today's gathering. And so first and foremost, I am thankful and grateful for this gathering, thankful and grateful for the opportunity to turn within and to open my heart wide, 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 and to recognize that God is all that there is. How thankful I am to know that all that there is God, and God is all that there is, everywhere present in its fullness. And knowing that God is everywhere and everything, I know that my life is the life of God, for I could never ever be separate, distant, or apart from the only thing that exists. But instead, I am one with that which God is. I am one with all that God is. Therefore, I know that I'm one with absolutely every person, place, and situation that exists. And if this is my truth, this same truth exists for each and every one of us here present, everyone on the way, everyone who thought of us, even those who don't know about us are lifted up because we know the truth of our own divinity. And so I name, claim, accept, and give thanks that this is a good service, a profoundly wonderful service, an easy service, an effortless service, one that is filled with so much love that we lift the vibration of our neighborhoods right where we are simply because we said yes to our divinity and kept our divine appointment to show up in service to the beloved community and as the beloved community. So I do know that all is exceedingly well, especially now. How thankful I am to know that I get to release this prayer to the action of God's living, loving law, and God's got it handled. So I let go, I let God in grace and gratitude, and so it is. Amen. 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 Welcome, welcome, welcome. Once again, thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday service. It's a beautiful Sunday here in Los Angeles. Hopefully it's beautiful where you're at. And if it wasn't beautiful where you were at, the fact that you're here makes it beautiful. And speaking of beauty, we have the beautiful Reverend Tom Hennessy, as well as our beautiful mission statement. So I'm going to turn it over to Reverend Tom to anchor us in this mission statement.
Good morning, everyone. Inspire is a spiritual community of like-minded souls committed to walking our talk in joyous fellowship by demonstrating the power of love, compassion, and non-judgment every day in every way. Recognizing the divinity of all life, we stand united by actively liberating humanity by healing judgment, fear, and shame within ourselves. Our intention to create world peace, piece by piece. Whoa! And now it's my infinite pleasure to be able to introduce for our God shot today, our beautiful, our own Reverend Magalio Campo.
Happy Sunday, everybody. I am so grateful to be here. Really grateful, especially when we're talking about forgiveness. I miss my inspired spiritual community so much. And the funny thing is, a couple of weeks ago when Reverend Alfreda talked about forgiveness, I said, well, that's my topic. That's my favorite topic. Why don't I get a chance to, I really want to. And Reverend Amina called me up and said, would you like to give a God shot on forgiveness? And I said, absolutely, yes. I couldn't say no. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And I just want to share a little story about a year and a half ago. I'd been living with visual impairment and some negative beliefs around it. And I did come to Inspire about 5 years ago, and I became a licensed spiritual counselor and then a minister, thanks to Jesse, who believed in me. And I still encountered those beliefs, but I was able to, meet them, problem solve them, and using prayer or affirmations or reaching out to the community. However, my visual impairment turned into blindness, and those negative beliefs became limiting beliefs, believing I was limited. I stopped feeling independent. I stopped wanting to join in community. And it came to the point where the only thing I did was go outside to take out the dogs. And 50 feet away from the steps of my home, I got lost. And it was really a debilitating feeling and a shameful feeling also. How can, a minister go through these feelings of fear and shame and even blame, because I blamed myself for this this impairment, this blindness. And I started isolating. Once pandemic hit, I took advantage of that. And I cut off people, the community, friends, and really hit a dark spot. Luckily, everybody, around me was understanding. My teenage son, my loving boyfriend, who really encouraged me to practice compassion. And I tried it, but there was something missing. And it's been a year and a half, I guess, of just struggling and feeling challenged and feeling that shame and that blame and not understanding why, if I have all the tools, if I've learned so much, why am I in this dark spot again? And it actually, I think what triggered it was a family member had a crisis, and I was listening to them, and they were experiencing a lot of judgment from other people, from family members, a lot of fear of what to do or, what's going to happen, and blame, and, and even shame, that they had gone through this. And before I could step into, judging or blaming, I really dove into unconditional love for them. And I was just given this, like this light, like a light bulb, this idea. If I can practice that with others, why can't I practice it with myself? And it was an aha moment of, I need to practice self-forgiveness. And for me, it's always been as easy to forgive others, true forgiveness. Course of Miracles says always to be able to see the innocence in the face of others. But I was having difficulty seeing that innocence, that idea of I'm doing the best I can, and it's just perfect this way. So for me, it's self-forgiveness that's the difficulty, not forgiving others. And this true self-forgiveness has to be embodied. You have to practice the unconditional love, practice the non-judgment, let go of the blame and the shame, no matter who you are, whether it's like a minister or a teacher or even a teenager. So I really encourage everyone to look at their beliefs. If they're negative, if they're limiting, trying to release them with that unconditional love. And it kind of opens that door to that self-compassion. And right now I am actually here in front of you guys with technology. I am walking the dogs and going places with assistance, but acceptance to all of that. And it's just a learning experience, and learning that forgiveness is a journey. It's not a one-step thing. So that's what I wanted to share with you all. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Reverend Jesse.
Thank you. God, Jesus, Magali. Let me tell you the most shocking thing that you said in all of that, Magali, when you said my teenage son. Because is Adon really a teenager now? Because if he is, I'm just going to get off the computer and go to bed and take a nap because that's crazy. And how cool to I just think it's so cool to have kids that kind of grew up in this community. What a great community. What an awesome community to raise children in, right? Magali, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I always think it's so, you've always shared so authentically. And I just feel like there's such power in authenticity and transparency when we try to let go of appearances and just be honest. It just gives everybody the opportunity and permission to be themselves. And then we realize that we're not alone, that this is a completely shared experience. And it's so powerful, So thank you. Thank you, Magali. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so much of what you said resonated with me as far as spiritual truth, right? So I'm going to invite everyone to just take a moment, take a deep breath. Collectively, let's all just take a deep breath in. And close our eyes and exhale. Keeping your eyes closed. And in your mind, I invite you to contemplate this mantra. Nothing serious is happening here. Nothing serious is happening here. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Imagine how differently your life would be if in every situation, no matter what it may be, no matter how big it seems, how important it seems, even to the trajectory of this country, if we were able to say to ourselves, nothing serious is happening here. That's freedom. And that's the power of forgiveness. The Course in Miracles says forgiveness is one tool that we have in the illusion of separation that will actually take us out of the illusion of separation. And because true forgiveness is, as Magali mentioned, the ability to see the face of innocence reflected back to you, no matter who is standing before you. Meaning we see those that stand before us without any story. And so forgiveness, the art of true forgiveness, the power of forgiveness, in essence, is that the ability to break down, dismember, and release the stories we have about what is going on in front of us. So, and that's freedom. So one exercise I do when I feel particularly overwhelmed with whatever is in front of me is I will stop and I will describe what is actually happening in any given moment. So, for instance, right now, I would say this is what is actually happening in my life. So this is my life without any story. Man in black shirt and mustard sweater, sitting in chair, looking into computer, talking to people. That's what's actually happening. Everything else is story, because someone in this group might be like, in crazy person in ugly sweater talking about some dangerous bullshit, leading a cult and brainwashing people. And someone else might say, beautiful being of God, speaking truth and transforming lives. All of that's wonderful. I mean, whatever your experience is, it is. But the truth is, man is sitting in a chair, wearing a black shirt, mustard sweater, looking at a computer, talking to people. That's what's happening. And so if you think about the most traumatic or most anxiety riddled moments of your life, if you're able to just come to the present moment with what is actually happening, it is unreal, the clarity of mind that you have to make reasonable, informed decisions that will progress you in the direction you actually care to go. So a hiring committee reached out to me from a small liberal arts college in Iowa. Okay. And they were really they are interested in hiring me to come do this. It's this really interesting sort of concept they have for their food program. And it's all, the initiative is more diversity and inclusion through student participation in culinary arts and all this stuff. And it's an interesting idea, but so like the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, Iowa? I'm like, what? I can't move to Iowa. What's Iowa? And I'm like, I don't even think I could find it on a map other than like Midwest. But there's a comedian that I love that says, everyone who lives in California is like, there's California, there's New York, and then everything else is the Midwest. And I have to admit, like, I sort of fall into that category of person that's like, so I like literally looked at the map in Iowa, and then I thought, I mean, okay, I have some real stories about what I think is happening in Iowa because I'm not sure I can move my LGBTQ, plus cultural family to Iowa and feel safe. Can it happen? Is it like, don't they all have like tiki torches that they march in the street with in Iowa? And I realized I had this whole story about the Midwest, and about states that are red or purple that I'm carrying with me. And I've built it up to the point where like, I feel unsafe and a little resentful at them for even making me consider this. And so I was thinking about this proposal, but on the other hand, I'm like, it's a really cool opportunity and an opportunity to do something really creative and develop interesting programs. And I'd love to get into universities, and what a cool opportunity, But I was just like stressing myself out about, just the possibility of this. And so I've started this routine where I walk Pan Pacific Park every day. And that's part of my practice, part of my meditation now. Is I walk Pan Pacific Park, do a few laps, get a little exercise, sit on a rock, meditate, clear my mind, be completely present. There's this one tree I love. I always go and touch the tree for a minute. It's just my way of grounding in and releasing any, the dust particles of stress that cling to me throughout the week. And it's just really healing opportunity for me. And so I did that. And while I was there, I was like, okay, what if I took all the story out of it and just talked about what is. What is company reaches out to someone they're interested in employing. That person gets to choose whether or not he wants to be employed by this company. That's the only thing happening. And when I got to that place, I was like, oh my God. Oh, I felt like so free because I got to take out the like, oh my God, we're going to be hunted down in the street by white men in polo shirts with tiki torches wanting to, destroy my family and make my kids feel awful, and whatever. And I was like, no, what's happening is that someone's interested in hiring you. And you get to talk to them. And if it's a good match, then you can take the offer or not. That's it. Nothing serious is happening here. Nothing serious is happening here. And it was such a great reminder of, it's true, Annalise. It's such a good reminder that when you take the story away, what you're left with is something very simple to deal with. And so forgiveness is our most valuable tool in assisting us in this process. Another example I will use is my dad, right? So my dad has, I mean, like, we can say what we want, and that maybe I'm coloring it with my opinion, and I have the right to do so. But my dad has like a new family, right? He had like, we're the original family, we're the OGs, and now he has a new family, and it kind of feels that way, and it's fine. It is what I've done my work with the therapists and my healing retreats and all that stuff. I'm fine with it. But what I do observe is like he gives his son, who's 19 now, my brother, every opportunity in the world to just succeed in this world. Kid goes to Harvard. If he needs to go anywhere in the country and stay for free so he can train or do whatever, that's taken care of. And I always think, I'm like, dude, you called me my sophomore year of college and was like, I'm not paying for it anymore, so you got to figure out a way to do it, and didn't tell me how to do it. And so like all of that story of like how my dad screwed me with finances, and he always just imprinted in my mind that I was bad with money. He never taught me about money, all this stuff. And as a result of that, I created a whole experience with finances that never felt good to me, and da 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 da. And I was thinking about that after I got like some news that like I found out that my brother has been in San Diego for like 3 months and no one told me, and he's living there training. So when he goes back to Harvard, when they're back in, you know, in session, he can be prepared to get back on the swim team and stuff. And I stopped and I was like, you're a grown ass man now. like that story that your daddy didn't like, that he didn't make you feel good around this, that is an old story. And let me tell you something, nobody cares. Absolutely nobody cares about that. And nothing serious is really happening here. So if you're really interested in having a new relationship with finance, then learn about finance. You're a grown man, you're capable, buy a book, take a course, you know, take an online course on it, learn. Like that's up to you now, honey. Like you got to pull it together. And I just realized it's like, oh, Dad, I set you free. I set you free. Forgiveness is for nobody else but you. It is for nobody else but you. There's that adage about how holding a resentment or holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's insane. Forgiveness is for you. It is for your freedom. It is for your peace of mind. Part of the spiritual path is coming to the impasse when you realize that your peace of mind is 100% your responsibility and nobody else's. Your peace of mind is 100% your responsibility and nobody else's. And so it is up to you to do what you need to do to feel at peace. Forgiveness, again, is the most valuable tool you can use to do that. And listen, we all have the experience where we realize, you know, when we come to that point with our parents, and Annis, you may need to leave the room now because we're going to talk about parents. And just the routine you pulled on us, my God. But, you know, we come to the place in our lives, and it's usually when we're adults and we realize, oh my God, they were just doing their best with the resources they had. I mean, who knew, you know? And so when we come to those understandings, and often, you know, it's with maturity or you get enough life under your belt, you realize they did what they could, you know, and they did what they knew how to do. So we've all had those experiences, but it's important now that we begin to extend that generosity to every single person or group of people or institution that you hold responsible for the upset and stress in your life. Now, this is really a challenging thing to do, especially in today's political climate. And I will tell you, I hit a wall with it, with the political theatrics. And I think I shared very openly with you all about how I really got invested in the politics of this country, especially during the election. And it sparked in me this anger that was dormant for years. And that anger, I just embraced it. I allowed it to be here, and it was transformational. That the fire of that rage was really transformational. Fire often is symbolic of transformation, and that's what I really felt like. I was able to see parts of myself that were still in need of healing, and I was so grateful for that because it shined a light on it. And it got to a point where I no longer needed that anger anymore. I let it go. I healed it. I mean, thank God I was willing to heal it. And, but I begin to see now, like, we will continue to find proof of whatever it is we need to keep us upset and angry, as long as we believe that's upset and angry, as long as we believe somebody else is responsible for our peace of mind. And it's challenging because the world will try to tell you that you're being irresponsible if you're not angry. If you're not angry, you're not paying attention. If you're not upset, you're not paying attention. And I understand that, and I feel for that. But also, the question that I pose to all of us is, can we be agents of transformation? Can we be agents of change? Can we be visionaries from a space of compassionate understanding and peace? It does not mean that we lie dormant. It does not mean that we don't take action. But are we willing to use the power of forgiveness to free ourselves from enslavement from others? Because that's what it is. When we give somebody else the power over our peace of mind, we drag them along with us wherever we go. And that is not freedom. It's not freedom. Now, this takes a lot of work for me. I can only speak personally. And here's what I've really learned is a lot of people are not like me. It takes a lot of work for me to remind myself of that, to get to that place, come to the place where I can once again neutralize the situation, neutralize the emotional storm by saying what is actually happening. What is actually happening is man sitting in chair, wearing a black shirt and a yellow sweater. Everything else is story around it. And so we talk about the power of gratitude, the power of appreciation, and how when we begin to look for evidence that our life is working, that there is good in the world, that peace is possible, we will find evidence of that. If we go out and look for proof that it's awful, that it's dangerous, that it's scary. I'll use Iowa again as an example. I started to play a game with myself of like, okay, Iowa, and listen, I don't really have any intention of moving to Iowa, just so you know, but it is what is before me. And so I'm using it as a teaching opportunity because I know there's no mistakes, right? I know I create everything that I experience in front of me, I have created on a soul level to support me in awakening to my oneness with perfect love. And here's the deal, y'all. Once we can all become hip to that game, that whatever is in front of you, you have created for you, whatever it might be. And Thank God your inner self knows you better than anyone. It's read all the books you've read. It's gone with you through every experience you've had. It watches all the same television that you watch. It has all the same subscriptions that you have. It knows exactly how to tailor make opportunities for you to transcend so that you may awaken to your oneness with perfect love. Thank God. It knows how to talk to you. It's great. So whatever is in front of you is your tailor-made opportunity to awaken to your oneness with love. So I get this call from Iowa, and all of a sudden, all of my judgments and story about the Midwest come up. White people, crazy fucking white people, crazy Christian white people out there, out to get me. So I was like, okay, wait, what if I search for evidence to prove that theory wrong? So I started doing a little digging, and I did what I knew to do. First Google search was Cedar Falls, Iowa, yoga studios. And I was like, there's 3 yoga studios. And I started looking at the schedule. I was like, oh my God, there's some hippy dippy shit going on here. All right, okay, there's my people. And then I started, okay, spiritual community, Cedar Falls, Iowa. And then I found this like total, I just got off the phone with someone from there, and they were talking about like, yeah, we have a good amount of pagans here. I'm like, stop. You had me at pagan. And it was like, as long as there's a good witch in the crowd, I always feel safe. Fine. And, so I started realizing that like, oh, okay, like there is more here than I allowed myself to see initially, because I only was looking at like, It didn't help that Chris was watching this documentary about, he sometimes we all have a murder documentary that we like to watch on occasion. And he was watching one, and it was all about just that area in Iowa. He's like, see? I was like, well, listen, you're gathering evidence for that. I'm going to gather evidence for this. Okay. So I digress. Anyway, so this is part of what I realized, the opportunity here of exploring this was like, this is my opportunity to forgive conservative, white Christian people that I, in essence, have blamed for all the atrocities in our country for the last however many years since I've been more conscious of that. And it's not that I have to approve of the laws they pass or approve of whatever, but I can at least begin the process of forgiving them so I can be free. Reverend Jennifer once said to me something that really changed my life. It was just one of those little nuggets that she said that changed my life. And listen, some of these spiritual ideas should definitely come with a warning label, because once you commit to it, again, your inner self will give you every opportunity to live it. And one thing she said to me was, until you believe that everyone on the planet is worthy of your love, you will never experience unconditional love yourself. And I was like, that is a tall order, sister, because that is big. But it was a challenge that I felt compelled to take. And so I decided I'm going to commit my life to being a presence of peace wherever I go, a healing presence wherever I go. I'm going to commit my life to being a channel for unconditional love to express itself on this planet. And the game began, because let me tell you something, every personality, I think personality is the perfect word to use. Every personality that would trigger me, that would give me cause to think you're not worthy of my time, you're not worthy of my love, you are not worthy of me even thinking of you, got thrown in my face and has been thrown in my face from the get-go. And I'm talking about sitting in family court, listening to how listening to people lie about the abuse they inflicted on the children who are now my kids. and trying to blame other people and horrific acts, and me sitting there thinking, can I love this person? Can I forgive this person? Can I forgive this person who committed the ultimate unforgivable act in our society, which is harming children? Am I willing to forgive these people for almost killing Victor? Can I do it? Because let me tell you something, no one is going to hold me to it. Not one person would hold me to it. Everyone would give me permission to say that they were awful, to say that they're evil, to say that, they're not worth it. But that's not the game I'm interested in playing. And it's not, and to be quite honest, I don't truly believe it. I don't believe in evil. I don't believe evil exists. I believe that love is all-encompassing, and what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. I believe that there are thought forms and belief systems that are very active, that manifest in the appearances that we can say, that's evil, that's bad, that's bad, this is good, that is bad. But when you realize that those same people are projecting it right back to us, I'm slightly obsessed with this fabulous stand-up comic right now. His name is Julio Torres. If you guys are looking for some fun, I invite you to look up Julio Torres. And one of his stand-ups that he said, one of the things that he said in one of his jokes, he said, he goes, another fact about me is that I am almost always doing what a Trump supporter would think I am doing. He goes, and it's a lot of fun. And I was like, yeah, exactly. Like, that's really, really funny, because we realize that, like, there are certain things that I think that's happening in Iowa, and there are certain things that some people in Iowa think are happening in Southern California. Who's right? Who's right there? Who has the authority on good? Who has the authority on, on the absolute? And of course, with enough sensibility, enough love, enough willingness, the picture begins to expand. And all of these things that I'm talking about, these are all products of forgiveness. And it starts with the willingness to see the world through the lens of love, to see the world, which I believe, as it truly is, to see the seeds of divinity, the seeds of potential in all humanity. And we ask ourselves, okay, if I believe that the seeds of divinity, true, pure potential, reside in everyone, how do we water those seeds? How can I contribute to sending those seeds the nutrients they need to blossom into love? There are only ever two things happening: an extension, an invitation to love, to connect on the level of love, or a cry for love. And a cry for love can show up in so many different ways, so many ugly ways. They can show up loud and offensive and nasty. And the question we have to ask ourselves as those who are on the path of peace is, how do I respond to a cry for love? How do I respond to a cry for love? Do I try to match it in ferocity? Do I yell back? Do I hit back? Do I throw back? How do I respond to a cry for love? And let me tell you something. Being a parent, I will tell you this. It's not always about like, oh, honey, oh, sweetheart, oh, my love. Sometimes you got to take a stand in love. You have to take a stand for love, in love, and say no. No. And that can sometimes be the most loving thing that you do, because many people are operating under they're operating under the false pretense that they are something else other than what they are. And we don't have to play that game. We don't have to be enrolled in that game. We were just talking about the importance of listening to your intuition and healing codependency so that you don't put yourself in dangerous situations needlessly. Because so many times we are afraid that we're going to hurt someone's feelings, that we shouldn't really be worried about their feelings. And we put ourselves in dangerous situations, and how we were talking about like how do we teach our kids to trust their intuition without implementing in their mind that the world is a scary, dark, dangerous place, and it's, this is the dance that we continue to do as an awakened society, as a conscious society, as conscious communities. This is why it's important that we have groups like this, so we can remind ourselves that there are others who are asking these questions, others on this path, others who are committed to living in love, to being a force of love on this planet, to breaking through the illusion and seeing the seeds of divinity, the seeds of potential in all people, and asking ourselves, how can we nurture that? How can we nourish that? How can we feed that? What is the good nutrients we can place on those seeds so that they can blossom into into a garden of love, of health, of wellness? Forgiveness begins with your desire to feel good. Ask yourself, how committed are you to your peace of mind? Are you willing to prioritize your peace of mind above all else? And there are people who are really committed to this, and people that I have really judged for their commitment to their peace of mind, because a lot of times they do things that don't seem politically correct or woke enough, where they stop watching the news. They don't want any of that in their life. They're committing solely to the peace of mind. And I say, I've been one that called me irresponsible and privileged, but I understand that sometimes it is just so necessary to just unplug, so that you're not getting any other story, that you are simply present with what is in front of you now. It's important that we get to that space, that we ask ourselves, what can I do for me today? Forgiveness is for you. Healing resentment, healing blame, healing shame, all of that stuff, that is for you. You have to ask yourself, where do I continue to drink the poison and expect the other person to die? Where are my resentments? Who am I blaming for my upset in my life now? Who am I blaming for all of the things that aren't working now? We have fantasies, and this is important to remember. We have fantasies of what we think our life could have been if we did something different in the past, if we did A, B, and C. And then we do further investigation in that fantasy and say, who's responsible for me doing it this way instead of doing it that way? Who's responsible for this mess? It's like when you're in traffic, and I'm sure anyone can relate to me with this, especially if you live in LA, when you're in like a traffic jam and you're like trying to look to see like, who is responsible for this traffic jam? Who is responsible for making me late to work, for making me upset right now? Who is it? I need to know exactly who it is. So when I drive by, I can look at them like this. And the truth is, honey, you live in LA. You got to leave 10 minutes early. Like, you got to leave 20 minutes early. And if you don't, then that's on you, boo. Like, come on, like get with it. Accept where you are, accept where you live, and act in accordance, So it's the same, but it's the same principle. Who are you still blaming for your inability to balance your checkbook? Who are you still blaming for your inability to be in a long-term relationship? Who are you still blaming for your inability to keep the weight off or keep the weight on? Who are you blaming for your drinking? Who are you blaming for your X, Y, and Z? And the truth is, they're not to blame. The past is simply a fantasy in our mind. And if we do not practice forgiveness, then we will continue to drag the past with us, and we will continue to re-experience it time and time again. You will recreate moments from your past over and over and over again until you are willing to set it free, to cut the cords to the past, to be present in the moment. because then you don't have to say that all men are awful, or all gay men are just interested in sex, or all people in the Midwest are awful, whatever it is. Or all, lesbians want an immediate, long-term relationship, or whatever the story is that you've cultivated over the years. And you can simply be, next time you're on a date, you can simply say, two people sitting at a table, interested in the possibility of dating, ordering breadsticks or not. And that's all that's happening. And the rest is a story you get to create. The power of forgiveness. It's a tool within the illusion of separation that will take you out of the illusion of separation. It's the ability to see the face of innocence reflected back to you. And in order to do that, it requires us to release any story that we have other than the truth. That love is all there is. It is all encompassing. And what is all encompassing can have no opposite. And so it is. Join me and take a moment. Close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. And let's just be present to what is. I invite you again to say in your mind, there is nothing serious happening here. And then acknowledge in your mind what is actually happening. Person sitting in chair, person sitting on couch, watching Zoom, person thinking about lunch, person petting a cat. Take the story completely out of whatever's happening in your life right now and ask yourself, what is happening? And now you get to choose from this space of neutrality. What would I like to create? What's next? What feels fun? What feels exciting? And that might be ordering takeout. It might be going to the beach. It might be getting back in bed, snuggling under those sheets, putting on a good movie. Whatever it is perfect, because once you move from the space without story, and you just move towards what feels good, what feels exciting, what feels joy-filled, and you're always exactly where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing. Let us place on the holy altar in our mind so that we may alter our perception of any person or institution that we blame for the upset in our life. Let us place them in the altar so that we no longer have to carry them around and we can see them for what they are. An experience or a person that came into our life to support us in awakening to the truth of what we are. Perhaps it was through the opportunity to forgive. Perhaps it was through the opportunity to work through resentment or blame. Perhaps it's through the opportunity to master the art of non-comparison, not comparing ourselves to others. Let's just let it go. And in the space of freedom, the spaciousness that comes when we let go of our resentment and our blame, let us just welcome in the light, waves of beautiful light to fill the space that we have now created. And this light is what you are. The light of the divine, children of the divine, perfect, whole, and complete, at one with the one. So grateful, so thankful for the opportunity to be here in sacred community knowing that where we are, love is. That's all there is. I release this word in gratitude as we move forward in grace, and so it is.